Not today, boar. I am curious what happens if the boar interacts with a snake. You?
All he hit is...
You wuss. Was there even anything worth looking at up here? The only thing I saw was a school bus. That's it. That's all I see. Oh, there's a crate right here. Let's grab this real quick. Thank you. Whoopsie daisy. Let me just not be hit by that. Thank you. Come on. Come get me. Yeah, that's right. You won't. You won't. You won't. What's up? What's up? Yeah, that's right. You see that snake? You don't want none of that. You don't want none of that, do you? Little bitch. So anyway.
Okay. Well, here's this Tysop's Fable that we're going to start.
Tysop's Fables.
Yep. In the high and far-off times, the elephant, oh best beloved, had no trunk. He only had a blackish, bulgy nose as big as a boot that he could wriggle about from side to side, but he couldn't pick up things with it. But there was one elephant, a new elephant, an elephant's child, who was full of satiable curiosity. That means he asked ever so many questions. And he lived in Africa, and he filled all Africa with his satiable curiosities. He asked his tall aunt, the ostrich, why her tail feathers grew just so, and his tall aunt, the ostrich, spanked him with her hard claw. Well, that's kind of rude.
A little bit.
He asked his tall uncle, the giraffe, what made his skin spotty, and his tall uncle, the giraffe, spanked him with his hard hoof. And still he was full of satiable curiosity. He asked his broad aunt, the hippopotamus, why her eyes were so red, and his broad aunt, the hippo, spanked him with her broad hoof. And he asked his hairy uncle, the baboon, why his melons tasted just so. That's weird. And his hairy uncle, the baboon, spanked him with his hairy paw, and he still was full of satiable curiosity.
Of course he was.
He asked questions about everything that he saw or heard or felt or smelt or touched, and all his uncles and aunts spanked him. Fucking assholes.
Yeah, it's a little rude. Whoa, wolves.
And still he was full of curiosity, satiably. One fine morning in the middle of the procession of the equinox, this satiable elephant's child asked a new fine question that he had never asked before. He asked, what does the crocodile have for dinner? Then everybody said, hush, in a loud and dreadful tone, and they spanked him immediately and directly without stopping for a long time. Okay? By and by, when that was finished, he came upon a colo bird sitting in the middle of the wait-a-bit thorn brush. He asked, my father has spanked me, and my mother has spanked me, all my aunts and uncles have spanked me for my satiable curiosity, and still I want to know what the crocodile has for dinner. Then Colo bird said with a mournful cry, go to the banks of the great gray-green, greasy Limpopo River, all set about with fever trees, and find out.
Yeah.
That very next morning, when there was nothing left of the equinoxes, because the procession had proceeded, according to precedent, this satiable elephant's child took 100 pounds of bananas, the little short right kind, to be specific.
Of course.
And 100 pounds of sugar cane, the long purple kind, and 17 melons, the green crackly kind, and said to all of his dear families, goodbye, I'm going to the great gray-green, greasy Limpopo River, all set about with fever trees, to find out what the crocodile has for dinner.
Please tell me he gets spanked again.
And they all spanked him once more for luck, though he asked them most politely to stop. Then he went away, a little warm.
A little bit, yeah.
But not at all astonished, eating melons and throwing the rind about because he could not pick it up. When he went from Grahamstown to Kimberley, and from Kimberley to Kamas country, and from Kamas country he went to east by north, eating melons all the time. Still, at last, he came to the banks of the great gray-green, greasy Limpopo River. Dude, this name sucks ass. All set about with fever trees, precisely as the Colo bird had said. Now you must know and understand, O best beloved, that till that very week and day, and hour and minute, this satiable elephant's child had never seen a crocodile, and did not know what one was like. It all was his satiable curiosity. The first thing that he found was a bicolored python rock snake curled around a rock. Excuse me, said the elephant's child most politely, but have you seen such thing as a crocodile in these promiscuous parts? Have I seen a crocodile, said the bicolored python rock snake, in a voice of a dreadful scorn. What will you ask me next? "Excuse me," said the elephant's child, "but could you kindly tell me what he has for dinner?" Then the bicolored python rock snake uncoiled himself very quickly from the rock and spanked the elephant's child with his scalesome, flailsome tail. "That is odd," said the elephant's child, "because my father and mother and my uncle and my aunt, not to mention my other aunt, the hippopotamus, and my other uncle, the baboon, have all spanked me for my satiable curiosity, and I suppose this is the same thing." So he said goodbye very politely to the bicolored python rock snake and helped to coil him up on the rock again and went on, a little warm, but not at all astonished, eating melons.
He's polite.
Yeah. And throwing the rind about because he could not pick it up, till he trod on what he thought was a log of wood at the very edge of the great gray green greasy Limpopo River.
I love that
all
name.
set about with fever trees. But it was
Great gray green greasy Limpopo River.
all lined with fever trees.
Yep. All set about with fever trees.
That's right. But it was really the crocodile, oh best beloved. And the
I like
crocodile
when he calls
winked,
me the best beloved.
and the crocodile winked one eye like this. "Excuse me," said the elephant's child most politely, "but do you happen to have seen a crocodile in these promiscuous parts?" Then the crocodile winked the other eye and lifted half its tail out of mud, and the elephant's child stepped back most politely because he did not wish to get spanked again. "Come hither,
Jesus, man.
come hither, little one," said
Poor
the crocodile.
kid.
"Why do you ask such things?" "Excuse me," said the elephant's child most politely, "but my father has spanked me, my mother has spanked me, not to mention my tall aunt, the ostrich, my tall uncle, the giraffe, who can kick ever so hard, as well as my broad aunt, the hippopotamus, and my hairy uncle, the baboon, and including the bicolored python rock snake with the scalesome, flailsome tail, just up the bank, who spanks harder than any of them. And so, it's quite all the same to you. I don't want to be spanked anymore." God,
If it's quite all the same to you, sir, I would prefer not to be spanked, please.
Yeah. "Come hither, little one," said the crocodile, "for I am the crocodile." And he wept crocodile tears to show it was quite true.
Of course.
Excuse me. Then the elephant's child grew all breathless and panted and kneeled down on the bank and said, "You are the very person I have been looking for all these long days. Will you please tell me what you have for dinner?" "Come hither, little one," said the crocodile, "and I'll whisper." Then the elephant's child put his head down close to the crocodile's musky, tusky mouth, and the crocodile caught him by his little nose, which up to that very week, day, hour, and minute had been no bigger than a boot, though much more useful. "I think," said the crocodile, and he said it between his teeth, like this, "I think today I will begin with elephant's child."
Today I will begin with elephant child.
At this, oh best beloved, the elephant's child was much annoyed, and he said, speaking through his nose, like this, "Let go! You are hurting me!" Then the bicolored python rock snake scuffled down from the bank and said, "My young friend, if you do not know, immediately and instantly pull as hard as you ever can. It is my opinion that your acquaintance in the large pattern leather ulster," and by this he meant the crocodile, "will jerk you into yonder limpid stream before you can say Jack Robinson." This is the bicolored python rock snake's always talk. Then the elephant's child sat back on his little haunches and pulled and pulled and pulled, and his nose began to stretch, and the crocodile floundered into the water, making it all creamy with great sweeps of his tail, and he pulled and pulled and pulled, and the elephant's child's nose kept on stretching, and the elephant's child spread all his four legs and pulled and pulled and pulled, and his nose kept on stretching, and the crocodile threshed his tail like an oar, and he pulled and pulled and pulled, and at each pull of the elephant's child's nose grew longer and longer, and it hurt him heejus. Okay.
Hurt him what?
Hijjus.
Oh, Hygus. Okay. Editor, throw that up on the board. I mean, thing.
Should I read the description of this picture?
Yes, always.
This is the elephant's child having his nose pulled by the crocodile. He is much surprised and astonished and hurt, and he is talking through his nose and saying, "Let go, you're hurting me." He is pulling very hard, and so is the crocodile, but the bicolored python rock snake is hurrying through the water to help the elephant's child. All that black stuff is the banks of the great gray green greasy Limpopo River, but I am not allowed to paint these pictures. And the botley tree with the twisty roots and the 8 leaves is one of the fever trees that grow there.
Wow.
Okay.
Hey!
A pooch.
I hate to do it because I wanted to make a leather kit, but pouches are too helpful. Anyway, sorry. I interrupted. Go ahead.
Underneath the truly picture are shadows of African animals walking into an African ark. There are 2 lions, 2 ostriches, 2 oxen, and two eye camels, 2 sheep, and 2 other things that look like rats. But I think they are rock rabbits. They don't mean anything. I put them in because I thought they looked pretty. They would look very fine if I were allowed to paint them. Back to the story.
Wow. What the hell was that?
I don't know. It's like I got a bump on my arm.
Huh. What are you doing, man?
I'm sorry. It just kind of hurt. My apologies.
I was just very confused.
I don't know. There's like a bump on my arm. I didn't know what it was. I was like, I gotta look at it, and I picked at it a little bit. Now it's bleeding. So it is what it is.
Perfect sense.
Anyways, then the elephant's child felt his legs slipping, and he's
17, 18, 19, 20. 5, 2, 6, 2, 7, 28. Shit.
dang.
I wish that I had not made this. It'll only let you have 1 pouch at a time.
Oh, that sucks.
It does suck, because now I'm getting rid of it.
Dang.
I have it taking up room in my inventory.
Pretty much.
Ah, that's lame. Alright, it's
Okay.
off the reservation. Go figure.
Then the elephant's child felt his leg slipping, and he said through his nose, which was now nearly 5 feet long, "This is too much for me." Then the bicolored python rock snake came down from the bank and nodded
Dude, if
himself.
you're gonna do it, you gotta...
This is too much for me.
I will get into more.
You gotta...
Okay. Thank you, narrator, for telling me what I have to do.
Picture it like you're reading to small children.
Did you hear that, everybody? He wants me to read it to you like you're small children. Because you are children.
I didn't say that.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes, do what Daddy Ty says.
Yeah, that's right. Listen to Kitten. No, that's Game Grumps.
That is Game Grumps. We're not going to steal their style.
Ill-equipped.
Yeah, it's too cold. I don't know how to fix that. I mean, I do, actually. It would really help to have a leather kit. Unfortunately, I can't have a leather kit. 180, 200, so it's this one first.
Okay.
I like this music.
Then the bicolored python rock snake came down from the bank and knotted himself in a double clove hitch around the elephant's child's hind legs and said, "Rash and inexperienced traveler, we will now seriously devote ourselves to a little high tension, because if we do not, it is my impression that yonder self-propelling man of war with the armor-plated upper deck," and by this I mean this, oh best below, he meant the crocodile, "will permanently vitalate your future career." I think that's what it is. VITIATE.
Vitate.
Okay. That is the way all bicolored python rock snakes always talk. Okay. So he pulled, and the elephant's child pulled, and the crocodile pulled, but the elephant's child and the bicolored python rock snake pulled hardest. And at last the crocodile let go of the elephant child's nose with a plop that you could hear all up and down the Limpopo.
Alright, hold on. For a religious fellow, good Phil Droog sure spent a lot of time arguing. Didn't seem to grant him much peace at all. Hollered till he was red in the face about how what was occurring wasn't actually occurring. Said so in this here book, he roared. No more earthly disaster. Night before the evacuation, sinkhole took his house, him with it. Still here shouting, some say. Alright. So the elephant's child escaped.
Yep. When the elephant's child sat down most hard and sudden, but first he was careful to say thank you to the bicolored python rock snake.
What a polite child.
And next he was kind to his poor pulled nose and wrapped it all up in a cool banana leaves and hung it in the great gray-green greasy Limpopo to cool. "What are you doing that for?" said the bicolored python rock snake. "Excuse me," said the elephant's child, "but my nose is badly out of shape and I am waiting for it to shrink." "Then will you have to wait a long time?" said the bicolored python rock snake. "Some people do not know what is good for them." The elephant's child sat there for 3 days waiting for his nose to shrink, but it never grew any shorter. And besides, it made him squint. For, oh best beloved, you will see that and understand that the crocodile had pulled it out into a really truly trunk, same as all elephants have today. Nice. At the end of the 3rd day, a fly came and stung him on the shoulder, and before he knew what he was doing, he lifted up his trunk and hit that fly dead with the end of it.
Nice.
Vantage number 1, said the bicolored python rock snake. You couldn't have done that with that mere smear nose. Try and eat a little now. Before he thought what he was doing, the elephant's child put out his trunk and plucked a large bundle of grass, dusted it clean against his 4 legs, and stuffed it into his own mouth. Vantage number 2, said the bicolored python rock snake. You couldn't have done that with your mere smear nose. Don't you think the sun is very hot here? It is, said the elephant's child, and before he thought what he was doing, he scooped up a sloop of mud from the banks of the great gray-green greasy Limpopo and slapped it on his head, where it made a cool, sloopy, sloshy mud cap all trickly behind his ears.
How much fun is that to say?
It's really hard on the throat to keep going like this. Vantage number 3, said the bicolored python rock snake. You couldn't have done that with your mere smear nose. Now how do you feel about being spanked again? Excuse me, said the elephant's child, but I should not like it at all. How would you like to spank somebody? Said the bicolored python rock snake. I should like it very much indeed, said the elephant's child. Well, said the bicolored python rock snake, you will find that new nose of yours truly very useful to spank people with.
Revenge is mine.
Thank you, said the elephant's child. I'll remember that, and now I think I'll go home to all my dear families and try. So the elephant's child went home across Africa, frisking and whisking his trunk. When he wanted fruit to eat, he pulled down fruit from a tree instead of waiting for it to fall as he used to. When he wanted grass, he plucked grass up from the ground instead of going on his knees like he used to do. When the flies bit him, he broke off a branch of a tree and used it as a fly whisk.
When the flies bit him, he bit back.
Yeah, and he made himself a new cool, slushy, squishy mud cap whenever the sun was hot. When he felt lonely walking through Africa, he sang to himself down his trunk, and the noise was louder than several brass bands. He went especially out of his way to find a broad hippopotamus. She was no relation of his. And he spanked her very hard to make sure that the bicolored python rock snake had spoken the truth about his new trunk.
If you think about it, that's a little messed up.
He just went out of his way.
He was just there.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Anybody, this trunk's rated E for everybody.
I guess so. Anybody could get the smoke from this trunk.
The rest of the time, he picked up the melon rinds that he had dropped on the way from the Limpopo. For he was a tidy pachyderm.
Nice.
One dark evening, he came back to all his dear families, and he coiled up his trunk and said, "How do you do?" They were, hold on. "How do you do?" They were very glad to see him and immediately said, "Come here and be spanked for your satiable curiosity." "Pooh," he said the elephant's child. "I don't think you peoples know anything about spanking, but I do, and I'll show you." Then he uncurled his trunk and knocked 2 of his dear brothers head over heels.
Jesus.
"Oh, bananas," they said.
Oh, bananas.
Said they.
Language!
"Where did you learn that trick? And what have you done to your nose?" "I got a new one from the crocodile on the banks of the great gray green greasy Limpopo River," said the elephant's child. "I asked him what he had for dinner and he gave me this to keep. It looks very ugly," said his hairy uncle the baboon. "It does," said the elephant's child, "but it's very useful." And he picked up his hairy uncle, the baboon, by the one hairy leg and hove him into the hornet's nest.
Wow.
Jeez. Then that bad elephant's child spanked all his dear families for a long time, till they were very warm and greatly astonished. He pulled out his tall ostrich aunt's tail feathers, and he caught his tall uncle the giraffe by the hind leg and dragged him through a thorn bush.
Jesus.
And he shouted at his broad aunt the hippopotamus and blew bubbles into her ear when she was sleeping in the water after meals.
He's gone crazy!
But he never let anyone touch Colo Colo Bird. At least things grew so exciting that his dear families went off one by one in a hurry to the banks of the great gray green greasy Limpopo River, all set about with fever trees, to borrow new noses from the crocodile. When they came back, nobody spanked anybody anymore. And ever since that day, oh best beloved, all the elephants you will ever see, besides all that you won't, have trunks precisely like the trunk of the satiable elephant's child.
Wow. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.